All right. Welcome back to the Square. I am your host, Curtis the Fifth.
And I'm Curtis the Fourth.
All right. And today is June 29th. We got one game on the schedule tonight. Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Final, Milwaukee at Atlanta. So right now we're just kind of recapping since the last week where conference finals just started last week. And now we are about what you would say, I guess, midway through, coming towards the end of this Western Conference Finals and kind of right smack dab in the middle of the Eastern Conference Finals. We just want to have an update, continue just talking basketball right now. It's kind of been a nice little reprieve from some football talk. I mean, I don't think we've discussed football outside of fantasy football in over a month.
No, that's been that I think you and myself, maybe a person or two taking this time. Football related really is just kind of
Speculation.
Yeah, but also I think if any energy that we're really putting into football right now has been more so fantasy based.
Yeah,
like it's
I think these are literally the only conversations we've had is fantasy based.
It's a good time to research, because not much going on. Oh, I probably said too much. Yeah. So because right now it's like it's just the build up before before training camp. So now it's like
everybody's on summer break.
Yep, and the NBA has the stage. So football has to take a back seat.
Olympic trials are going on right now, but nobody really cares until it's actual Olympics. So that's next month.
Right, and that's coming. That's coming. Down the pipeline. But right now, it's just
I think
NBA
the only thing that they have to worry about is the Euros right now. That's soccer, but that's worldwide. That's not even in the U.S.
I mean, I'm sorry to say. I mean, it's sad to say now because it hasn't been said already. The Stanley Cup Finals is going on right now.
Yeah, you're right.
It's game 2.
Again, I don't think anybody's going to care about the hockey until they have that ESPN package back. And that was just a bad move by the NHL to sign that deal because I'm sorry. I'm not going out of my way to go find NBCSN.
I thought it would be more of a follower. I'm a little shocked. It's
maybe if it was on NBC itself, kind of like how Sunday Night Football is.
Right. That's
maybe that's a little bit easier for people that's already on your cable. Like,
yeah, but they're not gonna show a series. And series, night in and night out.
They do it on Fox. I don't know. Like,
yeah. True. Fox is a little different, but yeah. True.
No, I get it, but it's just I just think it was a bad move by NHL to get. Now they're getting buried in everything because, I get like a notification here or there on the ESPN app. Oh yeah, what is it? Tampa and
I don't even know they playing.
Montreal. The Canadiens. That is
news.
Yeah, that's huge. Cool. I guess I'm rooting for the Canadiens just because I like Montreal. But
did Tampa Bay ever win one? I mean,
they lost to.
This is not that type of podcast.
They were the ones who lost to Chicago in our either second or third in that.
Okay, I remember
run.
that. I didn't know if they went back. That's what I was asking.
They might have.
I didn't watch after that. Walked away from the NHL. I haven't turned my head once
since we lost Coach Q. I really haven't been watching hockey too much.
All right, let's.
Sorry. But back to basketball. We're gonna dive into that. But before we get into all of that, as you've heard us banter already, please just go like, rate, and subscribe to the podcast. We want to continue to grow here, reach as many fans as possible, and have a discussion down in the comments. Our friend Davey, love you. You've been killing it in the comment section.
Yeah.
We want, but not that you're not enough. We just want more. We want to have more conversation, more discussion. So continue answering questions, asking questions, having that discussion down in the comment section. We thrive off of that. We love it. So it gives me something to do with the rest of my week. No, so let's talk basketball. Let's talk conference finals. And let's start in the West as that one's almost wrapped up. We're getting close to Game 6 is tomorrow night. LA Clippers, Phoenix Suns. I mean, just give me your thoughts on this series to start before we get into any big stuff here.
Considering, well, I'll do it the other way. This has been a taxing series for me. It's just emotionally. I mean, it's just been a seesaw battle. It's been going back and forth. One game here, one game there. We take
Yeah.
one, we take. It's just. I mean, I found myself being very frustrated after last night.
Yeah.
I really felt they left one there on, kind of left one there on the court. And
I mean, that's what you get when you have a young team like this. That is just what the way that I kind of looked at Game 5. It's just like they came out sluggish. The Phoenix. I mean, the only person that I saw trying as like desperately was Chris Paul, but he still couldn't get anything going because across the board, everybody came out lethargic. I mean, they were saying all the right stuff after Game 4. Like, we got to hone in, we got to lock in. We're not looking ahead to get to the finals or anything like that. We're not there yet.
Right.
That was all being said, but man, they just seemed like they came out in Game 5 and just was like, well, we got 3 chances at this. Let's. But,
yeah, I'm disappointed in Phoenix.
that's literally what is written down on my on my notes here.
Considering this well-oiled machine that we were watching, I mean, and it was beautiful. Just beautiful, and it was very nostalgic. It was, and it was very modern. And don't get me wrong. Oh, I know you want to jump.
No, just before you get into Game 5 too much, I do want to get your thoughts because
no, I know.
Game 4 specifically, I just wanted to see what you thought about the way that game went, because as that game was going on and we hit the second, because I mean it looked like a regular old game in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
It was about 55-50, I think, was the score at halftime, and then out of nowhere, quarters 3 and 4, it not that it stalled, and not that it was the hard-nosed defense of the 90s, but it was definitely more defensive-driven in that second half of that game. I just want, because we've been talking about how much defense isn't a factor in the NBA right now, but that game, to me, specifically shouted out, oh, there's still defense to be played in the NBA.
It does, and it's a reminder. I know we say this playoff basketball, but no, we're talking. This is the conference championships. This is the elites.
Yeah,
it doesn't get any bigger than this, especially when it's not barring who the matchups are, but the fact that these are the final 2 teams in their respective conference, and now they have a week and a half to just focus on each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a battle.
Yeah.
In some cases, you see a team just overpowered them and like, oh my God, they ended in 5. Oh my God, it was a sweep. Didn't see it coming. But these are like slugfests, and I mean they're back and forth. And I don't mean in the aspect like, oh man, we see 6-game and 7-game series all the time. Like, are you really feeling the this fight? Because I didn't feel that in the bubble. As an example, I didn't feel this big this big mountain to have to be climbed. The mountaintop was just to try to win. Who can win while we're here in Orlando?
Honestly, it was white noise to me. The bubble. I mean, not that it wasn't exciting to watch some of the things that were happening in the bubble, but it is not playoff basketball.
And then let's go back right before that. We have the Toronto championship, which I was nothing wrong with that. But kind of vanilla, in the sense. I mean, it's kind of. I mean, I would say it's a very poor man's version of what I'm experiencing and what I'm seeing this year. It's like, okay, that was the first draft. Oh, okay. Oh, that's a little different. After we got the epic, Golden State, Cleveland series for 4 straight seasons. I mean, 4 straight years.
10 years, you mean?
But it felt like it at some point. Like, my goodness, it's just same to whatever. But so it was a change of pace.
Yeah.
And then we got the bubble, and now, I mean, it's been a change of pace, I guess, since then. But it's morphed into this. So this is, man, the disappointment is just they just took their foot off the pedal. Just even if you did it for a little bit, it didn't have to. I understand that we got 3 games. When you start thinking like that,
I don't like it because it opens up that door.
Failure.
Yeah,
I mean, more times than not, I think it significantly lower your chances of winning when you start thinking like that, just from a psychological.
Plus, you're giving more and more time for Kawhi to come back And I mean, even though again, if he comes back, he's not going to be 100%, but you just never know because you got to change up your game plan at that point, and you have to make those adjustments. And when you're relying on adjustments instead of relying on your overall game plan from the start, that it's not a recipe for disaster, but it opens up that door for doubt to creep in, and again now I feel like it's putting a lot of pressure on Phoenix to go into LA and to steal another game.
Well, you told me. Well, let's go back to just to finish with the comment about Game 4.
Yeah.
Well, I can see Game 6 looking a lot like Game 4.
In the sense of the
flow. Just I think I'm not expecting necessarily a high scoring game.
Okay.
I know this was like completely low. I mean, I could if they finish in the 90s, I wouldn't be surprised. Like,
okay.
No one really eclipse 100. Definitely not 110. I don't see. I know it can happen, but at this stage, and it's coming down to the last two potential games, I think Phoenix has hit that crossroad. Like we didn't have a lot of bumps in the road, and so it's almost kind of like we're just kind of testing our invincibility right now to a degree. And okay, we let one down, but it's not as if they can't go back and grab one. You know,
I'm not saying it's impossible. It's just that much harder to do.
No, I get it because everything was set up for you, for them to just take it and move on.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, I did predict them to win in 6.
You did.
So, and I was saying like,
but I don't think you would have had that
I didn't have it
context in 3-1. Like you're up 3-1, you gotta close out.
No,
I
5. Understood that. That's the only thing I could walk away from and say, well, I did, predict them to win in 6.
And I do predict them to win Game 6. Phoenix, I think, is just they are too hungry for the way LA is playing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, I mean, LA, you dropped a game at home already. Like you've already opened up that door, and you've given Phoenix a game plan on how to beat you on your home floor.
Right.
And that's just to play scrappy basketball. I mean, you lost that game without D Book down the stretch.
Right.
I know you guys don't have Kawhi, but come on, like you lost Devin Booker, the dude that's been that dude this entire playoff run. Especially when CP3 goes down, he wasn't on the floor to end that game, and you guys still weren't able to close it out. That's really got to open up some questions to what LA's situation is right now, because that's tough.
It also gives a spotlight to Phoenix as to their team, and we touched on it in some earlier episodes, but their defense is legit.
Yeah,
and I mean. I'm not gonna say they just clamped down when necessary because we shouldn't be having to talk about a Game 6, but I'm talking about Game 4 in itself.
Yeah.
They in that game itself, they show what they potentially can be on a night in and night out basis.
For sure.
They basically just laid an egg last night, and but apart from that, it's I didn't have a problem with. An 84-80 finish simply because it's the Western Conference Finals. There's going to be games like that, and it's not and the way they come right behind and give their little analysts and oh my God, okay, such and such CP3's off, or now Paul George, his shooting is off a little bit, and this is what caused this and that. And they break it down and they dissect it and so on and so forth. Man, in some cases, people just have an off night. It was a tough game. Someone had to lose.
Yeah.
Why does it have to be when if this person did this, and that, then they would have won the game? Okay, then Phoenix would have lost. Then we would have said, well, if this person did this, and that, we just have to tag the act. They have to tag this narrative of just positive negatives. Either good, bad. You won, lost. So you lost. This is the script you get, and then we're gonna just dissect and murder you. Whether you lost by 1 point or by 100 points, and if you won, whether by 1 or 100, all the great things you did. But if it was close, you better watch yourself in the next game because it's always it comes with a disclaimer.
That's what the narratives are.
Yeah. Are our narratives like that?
Basically, not our. I don't think ours are. I think we give.
I'm serious.
I think we give
That's
a bigger picture.
Okay, I try to. I get it, but it comes down on these networks. That's just all it is. Like could you just expand a little bit more? Like, it's not just that black and white, So as you can see, I mean, since game 2, they have flipped games back and forth. So based on on the rotation, Phoenix should win, and based on my prediction, they should win in game 6. Yeah. And Kyle said it was my prediction, should be enough. But hey, I'm just saying. I digress.
I just going back to game 5, I just want to touch on a couple of things from Phoenix stat wise. I mean, D-Book and CP3 combined for 17 of 41, which is just over 40% from the field. And with that combined with Cameron Payne coming off the bench and only being 2 for 6 in 13 minutes, it just felt like, man, they need more off the bench. For one, Cameron Payne needs to be that spark plug off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
And CP3 and Devin Booker, when they're on the floor, they got to be a lot more efficient. I know they're scoring a lot, but when you're taking 41 shots and you're only making 17, I'd rather you, because, talking about, just kind of foreshadowing what's going on in the East, in game, 3, Giannis and Chris Middleton combined 28 for 47. That's 60% from the field. That's a 20% swing, and that efficiency is huge. Okay. And that really, I think that's what's hampering them on the offensive end, especially with Devin Booker. I know he's got a broken nose. He's dealing with this mask, and he's trying to figure it out, but you got to figure it out soon, because if you drop this game in game 6 and this goes to 7.
He had a solid game.
No, it wasn't bad by any means. It wasn't Devin Booker from games 1 and 2. Where he was taking over. I'm not letting anything encroach on us.
And that's what I get. That with this fine oil machine. But I am disappointed. But I did not expect him to do 40-point triple doubles either. And that's, unfortunately, he did that.
Yeah,
and that's really skewing the
I get what
perception.
You're saying. I'm not expecting him to have a 40-point triple double every night. But I think when it comes down to the stretch, when you're breaking in the fourth quarter in the last 5 minutes of the game, 3 times in a row, that's where I'm like, okay. You got to be more efficient. You got to get a better shot instead of just throwing up something from 3 just because you can.
Okay. I don't think a lot of people go that far in their analysis. They just, they cut it short, and it's like that. You got to give me more than that. It's. Man,
I'm not saying that they can't. I'm not saying that Phoenix is done, but I think that they cannot by any means come out as lethargic as they did in game 5, in game 6. In game 6, they have to come out like a team on a mission, and they have to close it out. And like I said, it's going to be that much harder because you're on the road, and they've got fans in the stands, but you just have to hunker down.
And because we look at the Clippers is not a veteran team.
True.
In itself.
True.
And neither is Phoenix. Phoenix just has a veteran.
They have one old soul on that team.
Leader, So what they're not, the narrative we never use, or the lens we never really project at Phoenix is they're a young team. They still a young team. But
that's what it said.
But then it's overshadowed this simultaneously by what's going over in the East with Atlanta. That's, my goodness, you think like like Fab Five, like these are freshmen or something. That's how it look. They have, neither here nor there. So they're a young team, which. We get these young team games, like, it's just I ain't gonna say they imploded or they just fell to pieces. It's just, like you said, it just took their foot off the gas. Like, why win the game, take your foot off the gas and chill until the next series? I'm like, now you got to go back on the road. It's just, you got to build yourself up that much more. You got to deal with their little crowd, but the fact that you have to just take the travel, the extra practice, the extra prep, the extra
day,
all of that extra, treatment, so on, game day treatment, not I'm resting in between series treatment, and just like, come on, man, y'all.
You had it. You had it was there for you.
Why play an extra game?
Yeah.
It's unnecessary. Just close it out. And you're at home. You get to just drive home and stay there.
Yeah.
Now you're back on the plane. And here we are, granted, which you flew 1 hour, but it does not matter. It's just the inconvenience of having to go back right over there like I'll be right back.
Yeah.
It's just
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's still
It's because that honestly, that's what the playoffs come down to. Just that little stuff that happens to you throughout the season, throughout this course of these 2 month stretch here.
Matters.
It all matters. It all kind of builds up. Now, from the LA side of things, great fight by you guys in Game 5. I'm gonna give you that. You stayed in it. You didn't want to go home, and well. You did want to go home, but you wanted to go home to play another game. You didn't want to go home to pack it up for the offseason.
Is Paul George that dude? I mean,
absolutely not.
I'm talking about for this series. I know what I'm trying to preference just to this series. He's supposed to be in the aspect of for LA. It's all on my shoulders. Am I supposed to be that dude or something like? He's playing. I mean, I'm impressed.
He's playing good.
I'm impressed by like, okay, man, that's man, you giving it I always preference him as a 1B, like a tier 2. And that's another way of saying it. But tier 2 make it sound like he's so much lower. That's why I say 1B. Like he can be a 1 all by himself. But if there was a list of all the ones, I think he'll be toward the bottom of that list.
I see, and that's I think where me and you
differ still on him. The list.
Because I don't think he can be a 1. I truly don't think that he can really put. I don't think he can put a team on his shoulder to get them over that hump. He wasn't able to do it in Indiana. He tried to take that role 24? From Russell Westbrook, and I know I get what you're saying, but he tried to take that role on from Russell Westbrook in OKC. He had a damn near MVP season.
I don't think that was a good fit, and I remember I remember people like you just mentioned now saying that. I'm like, I know I wasn't watching a lot, but man, I got no sense that this dude was running at the MVP level. I'm like,
I mean, I think he ended up third in MVP voting, but because for most of the year he was just that dude. Like he was what we're talking about Trae Young right now. We're like, we didn't know Paul George had this in him. Like he came out and he was making Russell Westbrook look like chump change. Basically, it was insane. But with that being said, you've had the opportunity to be the number 1 in Indiana. In Indiana, I keep wanting to say Indianapolis, in Indiana, but it didn't work out. You never were able to get over the hump. You had a fantastic team around him at one point where they went to 2 Eastern Conferences finals in a row.
I believe so.
And again, you did lose to the super team of all super teams in Miami, but still. But then you're looking, and like you said, he was 24 at the time, young dude. Don't expect him to get over that hump, and that's fine. But you've had that experience. That all counts now as you're in LA as the number 2 guy. I expect you to be able to do more in the regular season. I expect you to be able to do more when Kawhi needs to take a rest. Since we are in this time of load management, when Kawhi's off on nights, why do you not step up in the regular season to give yourself some sort of film to go back to when you're in this situation? And granted, he is playing very well right now, but still in this situation, I don't think that he's going to be able to get past this Phoenix team, who is a young team, who I don't think Paul George can lead this team to get past with Reggie Jackson and Terrence Mann as his kind of co-stars.
Right.
So I think that he needs another guy. He needs another superstar, and it needs to be a guy who's a true number 1, and he needs a true Batman to ride with.
All right, okay, we got 30 teams in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So you're telling me there's 31s in the league? Because I'm saying that everybody has a number 1 guy on their team.
Yeah.
Someone has to be 28, 29, and 30. And with that being said,
let me rephrase. I don't think Paul George can be the number 1 on a championship team. He can be a number 1 on a team. He is a great player.
That's why I keep putting him like 1B, because a tier 2 can, you put it in the proper context. Can they lead a championship team? That's
Because to me, I don't break it up the way that you did.
If there was a list, he would just be like say if I picked, it was 10 guys, he would be number 10. You know, he'd be
Because
right at the
to me,
threshold of that.
For me, the reason why I don't put him in that one tier is because the way that I look at that is, if you're a 1, you are a guy who if you are the dude on your team, you can get them to the finals, hands down. No matter what, LeBron in Cleveland, you had nothing around you, and you were a 1. And I'm talking about the first time.
No, I understand.
And you were able to lead
give
that.
Give me a short list, because I'm curious. How many people was on this list for you?
Not many. LeBron.
It could be.
KD.
Yeah. What else? Yeah, because I know my point being is
I want to put Kawhi. I want to put Kawhi on that list, but in all honesty,
he really hasn't proven it according to your criteria.
That's what I was saying. That he hasn't proven it. I want to put him there, but he hasn't done it yet.
Okay,
so it really is just,
if it
to
ain't
me,
them two,
yeah,
then it's just, yeah, okay, I got it. Move. Let's move. That's fine. Let's move on. I'm not even here to
but
that's
just my criteria to be a number, like a bona fide number 1, because I want you to be a 1 on a championship.
I think
team.
we can get into that on a whole nother episode,
yeah,
a whole other show to save that, because I'm like, you know what, that's good. That's why I'm not even challenging.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's interesting. We'll get back to. Please mark that as a note.
I'll put
talk about that.
Yeah. But this is the question that I had.
Sure.
For the Clippers specifically. So after game 4 or 5, I don't remember. It reportedly, somebody said it in passing on one of these talk shows, that Kawhi is actually frustrated with the Clippers medical staff. And I don't know. Did you hear about it? Okay.
Go ahead.
To me, the second just, I want to get your thoughts on it, because the second that I heard that, and when I went to go read the story that came out on ESPN, I think it was either ESPN or it was on like a Google notification. The very first thing I was like, is this the beginning of another Spurs situation?
Yeah, there's some speculation going on here. So,
like, that was when I immediately thought, I was like, oh no, like I already knew he was frustrated with just the situation with him not being able to play.
Right.
But now that he's frustrated with the medical staff,
yeah.
like, this sounds verbatim what happened with San Antonio.
Yes. So now he's not playing. I don't know if him sitting in a box versus with the team actually matters, because he got
Somebody
his
brought
family
that up
with
too,
him.
yeah.
I mean, but granted, when he has his family with him, I can understand why he's in a suite. You know, it's because I can understand in the aspect that he's keeping company with his family in the suite. Now, if he had any intentions necessarily of, I didn't make a big deal out of it because it's Kawhi.
That's true.
That's the thing. I think
I'll
this.
give you that.
let me disclaim this back. I think I gave him a pass right off top based on it. It's just this guy. And
yeah,
he's
a different dude.
He want to sit in the suite, man. Let him sit in the suite. It ain't gonna change nothing for us when you understand Kawhi. You know, kind of in that on that level alone. Like, it's better if you just let him go.
Yeah,
you put him down here with us. He's not finna do anything. He's not gonna give a rah-rah speech to us.
But this is what what you just said is exactly the reason why I am struggling to put Kawhi on that number 1 list, because as the number 1 dude on the team, the fact that you're not, like, the fact that he's not the guy that gives a rah-rah speech, the fact that you're not that player coach type guy who can say, hey, get the F over here. This is what you need to do in this situation.
Right.
Grab the clipboard from the coach and say something to your guys in a situation where you guys you're in need. Like, you are backs against the wall. This is what needs to happen. The fact that you can't do that, I have an issue with.
Welcome to the new NBA and the way the industry runs. I mean, because the bottom line, the better way to preference this, contextually for him, will be he's a number 1 talent. Like, not so much the leader, not the number 1.
He just doesn't have that temperament.
Not that archetype.
I don't think
I should say. Yeah. Just he brings all of this with him. No, he brings. I am the number 1 talent on this team, and so you get the right pieces for basketball and basketball purposes alone of X's and O's. We can get this done.
And I think that's what LA is trying to do, but I don't think it's going to translate into actually getting a Larry O'Brien, because at the end of the day, you need a dude on the court that is an extension of your coaching staff.
I agree. I agree. I thinking this is starting to frame why there's some hiccups here.
Yeah.
Because whether it's from injury or not, it's something. It's all, but something is, there's a cog loose. And it's
you're in the suite instead of being down there on the sideline on those timeouts where you got guys just sitting around, where you got those two different groups. Just why aren't you leading one of those conversations?
Right.
And Paul George isn't that guy either, because he to me is a number two, is like, okay, what do you need me to do? I'll do it.
Again, why I put him as a 1B. Oh, this will hit a 1B category. I don't want to get into this. You keep giving me get back to this.
Sorry.
These tiers. But you're right. He's not really, maybe just a little bit more, but not much to. They don't have that guy on their team. Again, this is that top heavy model.
Yeah.
Top heavy is not necessarily the same as a super team. It's just a little different. They got two top talents. I think one on the upper echelon and the bottom echelon of the same echelon.
For sure. Yeah, I just see what you're saying.
But that, but it is a unique matchup, and they put some, some interesting talent around them. This is just we ain't never seen a team like this. It was literally just kind of, they went in a lab and they put this damn thing together, and yeah, they're a good talent, but now you got Phoenix, a homegrown, home-fed, kind of groomed team, kind of, I ain't gonna say did it the right way, but did it the more traditional way,
Gotcha.
They did it the right way, but more from a traditional aspect of team building,
Yeah.
and they're a young team, just like the Clippers was this lab team, but that's technically a young team. They got some kind of these guys are in their prime, so it's not, they're kind of in the middle, so yeah, they're at the apex of their careers right now. So it's an interesting clash of these two type of teams. But I'm like, man, somebody needs to get Phoenix and shake them, man. And wake up. You're in the final. You one more game and you smack them and come on, one more time. Get out there.
And like I said, they felt like they were going through the motions because everybody was saying the right things after Game 4.
Right.
Like, hey, we're not looking ahead. I mean, Devin Booker said everybody is aware. Yes, one more win and we're in the finals, but that's as far as it goes. We have to still win one more game, though.
I think they'll be fine in Game 6, and this is why. They have proven, just with this back and forth seesaw they've been doing, home court doesn't even throw that out the window at this point. Yeah. That is of no consequence. The crowds, I know I said it's the little nuances and stuff, but when it's all said and done, when it's X's and O's and how it all is playing out, yeah, you can win or lose on anybody's home court in this series.
Yeah.
There is no true home court advantage, period. It's just, with that being said, that's what I mean. Game 6 is very winnable, and I believe Phoenix will win it. I just think it'd be something, I don't want to get into the scores, but I just don't see them really eclipsing over 100, on either team. And I think they're going to just – Clippers are playing very expired basketball. I've been waiting, and like I said, they're train wreck waiting to happen. I think they're about to crash. So
yeah.
I think it's finally here.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, Phoenix in 6. I'm not wavering. So
no, I get you. It's either here or it's on Friday. So
exactly.
No, so I think that kind of covers the Western Conference as it stands right now. Let's talk Eastern Conference. I think there's a lot more in this Eastern Conference right now. Milwaukee does play tonight at Atlanta, Game 4. But just initial thoughts on how this series, the first 3 games, has kind of played out since we talked last.
I'm not disappointed. It's one of those, let's get one for the Gipper kind of sentiments right now. But this is a young team that's probably just, biting
I think
off
tonight's
going to
decide the series.
Then they can chew. Exactly. I'm saying going into just where am I at in 3 games, not so much where is it going.
Okay.
Because you quickly already transitioned where I'm going.
Gotcha.
Just in the first 3 games, it was just kind of like, Okay, Atlanta's giving everything they got. It's almost like Lil Mac on Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Yeah,
You know,
you're
it's
right.
just like Lil Trey. You know?
He's trying.
He punching, you know, and just getting, I mean, completely all the way from the ankles, you know, uppercuts, just taking them like in these last two games. And where's his help? I mean, APB out on the cast, the rest of the crew,
Yeah.
the other guys, the other 11. You know,
Well, so here's what I mean, just in my
go ahead.
notes about
Go right ahead,
Atlanta.
please. I thought I wanted to set it up for you. There you
No,
go.
my first question right off the bat is: does Trae Young's ankle, is that going to keep Atlanta from the finals? Just that specifically. He trips over the ref. I think he backed up into.
Back and walked up on him and stepped on him, and yeah.
Like, first off, what is this ref paying attention to?
They said he was where he wasn't in the wrong
I
vicinity.
know. It's just like, dude, like,
but
you see, I know he's small, but he's not.
I think Colin Cowherd said this, and I could be misquoted. It was one of these guys. I believe it was him.
Yeah.
And I came across, and he's like, "Well, why was he irking and jerking? Like, why would we jump back like that? Like, why did he, you know? It's just, he did something that was so uncharacteristic. But I guess the sentiment was, you know, this dude could do anything crazy, so just stay way the hell out of his vicinity. Like, he needs a bigger parameter. You know, like you was in his space. As crazy as that may have sounded, so I was like, I could kind of understand it on both sides.
I got you.
He don't do nothing crazy, but it's like, it was that time, and you were standing in my space.
Yeah.
You know, and now he's hurt, or there's a ding, and I'm like, man, why is I mean, man, the only time I remember this from my childhood is like Tecmo Bowl, where injuries was so vital to the game, you know, and it was so prevalent. Like at
this
any
has
moment,
been an insane playoff.
People just, oh, my ankle, my knee, my leg. This, my goodness, like
Joel Embiid's hip, back, ankle, neck injury.
Well, what did he have? He has like a meniscus pull.
I think it was a partial, either is a partial meniscus or partial MCL tear.
Right. I'm like, okay, that's pretty significant considering that came out way at the end. You know, like, but of course they're not releasing all this information anyway, and it's just we getting these generic. Yeah, I'm watching the game, man. I don't know about that report y'all said. There's something wrong with him. You know, like in this showing, like. Yeah, that's gonna be part of my question of the day.
Okay.
But I guess it's I wasn't going into it. It just reminded me that's why I have a question of the day based on it's just injuries.
Yeah.
But go ahead. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole right now.
So that was just my first question. Is that going to keep them out of the finals? And then
if he's hobbling, potentially it will.
Yeah.
Because where Trae goes the team.
He is that engine.
But ultimately, remember I said I had this I had this view.
Yeah.
Based on from what I've seen outside of the Detroit Pistons in, the 90s, the 89 champions and the 90 champions led by Isaiah Thomas, or the 2000 and I want to say 2003. No. Yes, 2003. Detroit Pistons led by Chauncey Billups and kind of the cat, just a kind of an all-star kind of.
Who just got hired by Portland, by the way.
Yeah, I want to say a team that Phoenix kind of reminds me of that, but I think on a very more on an offensive, modern day, jazzed up version of that.
Atlanta, you mean?
Atlanta? No.
The
Phoenix.
Suns?
The Suns today, but moving on. I'm just saying
gotcha.
In the aspect of these Pistons. Now I'm tying it back into the Atlanta, but. They've been led by their point guards, technically.
Yeah.
Those were the only teams that were kind of led by their point guards.
Gotcha.
To a championship. That model don't necessarily work, which is why I used to have such a harsh take with Derrick Rose. That model don't work, and it didn't work.
Well. I would ask
when that's your number one.
Well, I'm gonna ask before KD got there. What does that mean for Golden State? Before KD. That's clearly ran through.
Was he?
I know you got two all-time shooters, but
is he really a point guard though? Like, because one could have said that it's about Allen Iverson, like but he didn't win a title, but he was technically a two.
No, because I do,
and I'm talking about at a
even,
time when there was just not positionless basketball. Because
no, I get what you're saying, but even with that, because to me, I do think Steph is for sure a one because he definitely can make for others.
No, I get that, but when they by the time they got to winning championships, he wasn't doing that anymore. That's what I'm trying to say.
I mean, it still was a part of his game. It wasn't not to the degree of what he was when he was glass ankles.
Not a floor general. That's all I was getting at. Maybe I have to use it preference it. I'm talking about a traditional point guard.
But I think there's a difference between a floor general point guard.
Okay, you answered my question. Steph did not make the criteria. You can keep giving me everything. Steph is an undersized two guard. You're not the best sharpshooter, but yet I'm still a point guard. I'm like, you're not facilitating the offense, man. You are the offense. It's a little different. It's a different model. I'm talking about a traditional floor general type, the traditional point guard that actually facilitates the offense. They're a part of the scoring. Yeah, they're more. There's not such a disparity between their scoring and their assists. Their assist levels are, the numbers are really up. Like in the elites, they're usually in the double digits, but you don't even see that anymore. The elites are like 7. Okay, what happened to the 11, 12s, 14s, averaging, this is just, that's what they facilitate. I'm talking about, when I say traditional, you gotta have to go beyond when you started.
No, I get what that time. But that's what I was saying, because I think
Chauncey Billups was that guy.
No, and I agree. I'm not saying that he's. I'm saying I will say this
because you said bringing that up, which I'm glad you did. I have to preface the question a little different now because I have to really be specific about what type of point guard.
That's what I was gonna say, because I think he's a point guard, but I don't think that he's not a floor general. He's not he is not the dude that's just gonna sit back and watch things and be that kind of conductor type role. That's not him, and you're right about that. But I think you can still be a point guard in the sense that yes, the offense is mostly you, but if you're still playmaking, if you're even like you said, the 7 assist type game, averaging,
you can even add him. Even if you did, I'll give you that. That's why I didn't have a super hard take with that. My point being is, okay, you take these 3 title teams, these 6 titles out of all the titles.
Yeah.
That's it. 6 times.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Based on 3 different teams. That's it. It only happened with 3 different teams. Out of all, I'm sorry, the numbers are too low. It's a landslide. It's a model that could work.
Well, I think Phoenix is definitely going to get there with it.
But he's not their number one. Booker is. So they don't hit that criteria.
Oh, you're saying through the point guard, not just through the guard.
No, right. I'm talking about that's just their solidified number one guy is that point guard. I'm being generous when I said Chauncey Billups. They really was just a band of 5.
Yeah.
And but nevertheless, when it came down to who won final as MVP, he did. So I'd that qualifies for me. So,
no, I get what you're saying.
But he was always there anyway. It was just a matter of who was going to really, pull from the pack, and he did. And he was that leader. But that's what I say. It's not a model that I subscribe to because as you can see, it's only happened very few times in the history of the NBA. And it's like, that's not, so somebody gets some little sexy, like they like Portland with Dame Lillard. Did you ever see me get excited about? I'm like, no. He doesn't fit the model. If he's the best guy, I'm not saying he has to have somebody like his equal for him to change. Because if everything is just a step down from him, but you really a point guard, but he's another one of these shooting point guards. I know, and that's kind of the new thing right now, but
I think that Dame can work in that role as long as his number 2 isn't he doesn't play the 2. I think if his number 2 plays a 3 or a 4, he'll be fine. And that's why I really think if they do go hard and they trade Dame to, or they trade Embiid to match Damian Lillard and Embiid up, I think it would work. To the degree that Embiid can stay on the floor, but hey, that's one thing. But that's just me, and I think that we're literally seeing that in limited sample size because it was bubble playoff, but Jamal Murray and Jokic.
I get it. but but the criteria is a championship ring.
True.
And at the end of the day, those are all nice candidates.
Yeah.
But
they have the potential to,
right?
But
and I don't feel like, oh man, I'm threatened by any of this. Like, oh,
no, you're right.
It's like, and that's the thing. I want to feel threatened. Like, damn, this can actually. I'm like, could this actually work? And like right now, I think the numbers, because the numbers are too little, based on, and then you factor in where I factor in back when I was coming up in the 80s. It was like, if you didn't have a dominant big man, you're not winning the title.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was just how it was in the NBA. You had to have that low post presence, or you wasn't sniffing the title. You wasn't even close. Even if it was 8 teams, 12 teams, 16 teams, that never changed.
Yeah.
So, and then Michael Jordan showed up, and it changed. Because I'm not even saying when Bird and Magic showed up, because Magic had Kareem, Bird had Parrish. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, super team. No, I'm kidding. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah. So Jordan changed it. Now it's changing again. But I'm like, man, I seen change propelling. This don't seem like propelling. This seems like lateral change at best. It's just we're changing from one thing to something else, and it's like, okay, what happened to the great? It's supposed to be something greater. You know?
No, I get what you're saying.
Moving on.
But more on Atlanta, I think. And I think this is one of the keys to, and I think it's really accentuated with Bogdanovich, but you said it, Bogdanovich is the X factor in this series. And
no factor right
Game 3, without looking at his stats, what do you think he was from the field? Bogdanovich.
Out of three games?
No, just in Game 3 specifically.
3 for 10. I don't know.
You got 3 right. 3 for 16. He was 18% from the field.
Oh gosh.
And I pointed out Bogdanovich because that was the worst of it, but it wasn't that much better after that. I mean, I think the next guy was 4 for 11. Like, it's not looking good. Their entire supporting cast just is not showing up around Trae Young, and I think that's huge. And I think that's a huge testament to what Atlanta has done this year with Trae Young, because this team, like I said last round, is a year too early. They need to put a bunch around Trae Young right now. John Collins, honestly, right now, he to coin one of our I guess one of the phrases that we have on the show, I don't think he's got that dog in him. And I don't think Clint Capella has the athleticism that John Collins has that he would need, because I think Clint Capella does have that dog in him. He just literally can't keep up right now, especially when he's mainly guarding Middleton and Giannis. He's switching off between the two.
Well, you preference this by you, and you man, you say it so many times. I'm having an issue with you saying this. Stop saying that they're a year too early. Okay, they're here now. Stop. Because it's almost coming to become a slight at this point. Like, no, y'all are so great, but you're a year too early. Like, no.
I've said that two times about two teams. I said that about Atlanta, and I said that about Arizona.
You said Atlanta, but you made mention about this team multiple times, and I'm going to go back and have to look through all the episodes. And every time you've said it, you probably said it for the last 3 episodes now. And I'm like, okay, how many more times you gonna keep? I got it. It's just an underlining message to say you're not supposed to be here. That's all.
No, it's not that. I'm not saying that they're not, and I do think that there is a context and there's a connotation that comes with that.
I get it, but I'm speaking to what's happening right now because they're playing like they ain't supposed to be here. And that's I was going. I'm like,
now they're
damn it, I don't
want
to hear it. They're starting to live up to that the hype, and I'm like, dude, y'all are trending backwards, and I'm like,
I don't think that you have to say that they're trending backwards, or I don't think that they are trending backwards to say that they're a year too early.
When I'm looking at John Collins, because now I'm translating it to, like, I'm looking at Game 3 just as an example.
Yeah. No, it wasn't good.
Like you're saying, he's not that dog. That's why I didn't want to get too deep in that. I'm putting it in the context of their output.
Yeah.
And it was just like, come on, man. Why y'all got to be the little engine that could all of a sudden? And if Trae ain't out there pushing it, you all won't run. Like as if you all know how to run. This is the conference championship. This is not November, December basketball, and we just getting to know each other.
What I don't understand about what Nate McMillan is doing is you've got a guard like Chris Dunn on your bench right now,
right?
Who you specifically signed to this team for his defense. Why is he a DNP again? I understand that he's somewhat of an offensive liability, but right now Bogdanovich is an offensive liability.
And let me be very clear. This is why you have Tony Snell. Literally.
Yeah, you're right. Tony Snell too.
I'm like, he's not going to make any shots. Damn the shots, man. You need somebody to stop these. You
need somebody to just slow down
all of a sudden, because now Giannis and Middleton playing like they're gods.
Yeah, and Giannis and Middleton, I said it earlier,
in their way right now.
Yeah, they're 60% from the field, and then their others are 41% from the field.
They're playing like gods, but they're not. And that's the thing. And I'm like, I'm not knocking it. This is like,
because if
y'all playing so under y'all worth right now, and it's like it shows, and it's like, oh my God, y'all like Clint Capella out here, and if he has a bad game, it's like, oh, he had a bad game like with the rest of these guys. I'm like, no, the rest of these guys have been suspect from the beginning.
Yeah,
this dude just can't bring it every single night, because he's the only big they truly have. Like
True.
Collins he's cool and I like him, but Capella, Collins, and it has to be somebody else. Gallinari is not that guy. He's a stretch four who really just wants to be a stretch. He does not want to come down. Like, because, dude, you need to switch your game up just a little bit and help these dudes out down there. No, I'm just going to be the stretch. Okay, who else do we got?
He needs to be a 3.
This is where Tony Snell comes in.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this dude, Solomon Hill, you're trying, but what? Dude, you're small.
You got 2 rebounds. Like, you got it. If you can't.
It's just, when I looked, I'm like, okay, where's Tony Snell at then?
Yeah, you're right, and I totally agree with you on that. And my issue mainly is the fact that Chris Dunn, I honestly, Drew Holiday did not have a good game 3. I mean, his effective field goal percentage was like 18% from the field in 41 minutes, which is atrocious. But in the other games, if you could have just slowed him down a little bit more, you'd be in a better situation. And I think Chris Dunn can definitely just because you don't have to stop him, you just have to slow him down.
Yeah,
they can't get into that once Milwaukee gets into a rhythm. I mean, you saw it in game 2. Chris Middleton in the third quarter just got on fire, and as long as you just don't let him get into that rhythm,
but it's before over. That. What was killing them at more than anything was what was that game? Game 3, the first half. Giannis had, where's the help defense? He had whatever he wanted, every uncontested shots. He just laying the ball up. He just dropping it inside the basket. I thought that was more egregious than what Chris Middleton had to do down in the second half of the game. Like if you got rid of all of that. That would have been more so Chris Middleton trying to come back from behind, but there's a different kind of pressure on him.
The only reason why I don't have as much of an issue with that is because I don't want to put Clint Capella and John Collins into foul trouble in the first half. It
speaks to where's his help defense. Now they can be the initial defender, but it's about who your help. That is going to be more about the help defense. Like who's coming over to help double at the last moment. When you do that spin, who's standing there?
Well, I think that's why Bogdanovich is a liability right now. He literally can't move. He's stuck on that island out there.
And I'm getting that just like and I agree. Just like Gallinari. The same. They just.
But I think there's a difference because I think Bogdanovich can be the help defense. I don't think Gallinari can. Gallinari there is literally, he to me is Tobias Harris in Philadelphia. You get your ass in that corner and you just shoot threes. That's it.
Well, I mean, but
because he's a 3 to me. He's not a 4.
I get that, but I mean, Tobias Harris still found a way to get at least 9 rebounds. I don't know.
No, you're right.
And Gallinari doesn't. Like, I mean, he doesn't. That's why I kept saying like he doesn't make any conscious effort. He's just a stretch. And I'm like, that's fine. But when they're struggling like that, is is pulling away from his game, and it's like he has not made that adjustment in his mind. Like, I'm just gonna keep doing this no
I don't know
matter
if
what
he
the
can.
circumstance.
Because that's what he's been all year.
And that might very well be. And if that's the case, which I'm saying is like, I don't know, but maybe that is. And if that's the case, man, next year, he's a liability. Y'all gonna have to replace him. Like, either replace him or
You got to get
find
another person to do that role.
and then have him, so he's secondary to that, because you can't rely on this guy at this point, because of Bogdanovich's injury, which is making Herter have to play a whole different kind of role.
Which Herter can't do that consistently.
He needs to be back at that roamer who was just kind of out there. And
now he needs to be doing what Gallinari is doing.
Right. And now it's just, and they were already a man short at least, because this is the whole, they're a year too early. I get it. Like,
yeah,
was they really supposed to make it to the conference championship? I'm like, man, second round, man, great effort. Go out there and no, they started, man, they showed that they're ready next in line.
Yeah, they are. But they're that next man up.
Yeah, but even in sloppy play, Milwaukee's talent is far superior and deeper, where they can kind of even play sloppy for moments and periods in the game and still come out with a double-digit win.
And that's the reason why I took Atlanta in this series, because I thought when it comes down to, yes, Milwaukee plays sloppy sometimes, in Atlanta they're a young team who plays sloppy sometimes, but I thought it was easier for Atlanta to get out of their sloppy slump than it was for Milwaukee to. But apparently that's just not the case, especially now with Trae Young hobbled. You got Bogdanovich hobbled. They're dealing with these injuries that are starting to build up. You're really relying on Kevin Herter way too much and Gallinari off the bench to be that spark plug. And then Lou Williams, he's just, to me, it seems like Lou Williams in Game 3 was just a step behind everything. It didn't really feel like he could ever catch up to the flow of the game, and I don't know why, because usually when he comes off the bench, it's like, okay,
right,
this is the second unit. We're going to be just fine. They're going to be able to go up against Milwaukee's second unit, which I want to get to in a second here. But when Lou Williams was out there in Game 3, it just felt like, man, you're not getting, nothing's falling for Atlanta on the starter side of things, and then when the second unit comes out, you're still not able to get any. You're when you're not seeing shots fall, and you get into that rut. Even though Milwaukee isn't having shots fall, it doesn't seem like anybody's. There's not that dude there that can just bona fide come in, let everybody know, hey, we can still be effective on the offensive end. I think that's a leadership thing. I think it's because of, like you said, this is that freshman team. It feels like where they're coming out there and there's nobody there to be like, all right, this is what we got to do. This is how we lock in. This is how we get out of this slump here. Well, when you get to those hard times of the game where literally it feels like nothing is falling.
I think if they would change their philosophy up just a little bit, a small tweak for Nate McMillan, and he focused a little bit more on making a more stronger defensive effort and some more defensive rotations, and that's where the Tony Snells come in.
Chris Dunn, man, I think Chris Dunn needs to get playing time. To your point,
what you just said, Chris Dunn, even if it's 5 minutes, it's 5 minutes to at least evaluate and see, to give yourself a different feel, a different touch, and give 5 minutes at least minimum to or allotted to Trae Young, guaranteed, just to see what we have.
Yeah.
And if the changes the flow of the offense, anything to off kilter, Milwaukee's offensive and defensive attack. With that, also, if they're gonna, see what you got with this Cam Reddish. If he dude is ready, I'm talking about even from a defensive end. I mean, he could be an offense. He could become the new X factor. At least if it's for one game where they don't have any game film on you.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm like, and that's
he could be the Terrence Mann of last round.
And why I'm using these three guys on top of, you already got Gallinari and you got Lou Williams, just in case if Lou Williams doesn't necessarily have it tonight or he's not necessarily bringing it, is going to relieve the pressure off the very thin and fragile line of the Capella Collins.
Not even that. One thing that I did see in this box score that kind of caught my eye, Okongwu, the rookie. He played less than 10 minutes. He had 4 points, 2 rebounds. He had a steal and a block.
He's still on a foot issue, though. And that's... I didn't want to cut it off. It was just like, but this guy's actually not 100%.
But if he's doing that in less than 10 minutes and he's not 100%,
he's playing hurt, and that's why he stopped playing.
True.
So it's like, I understand what you're saying. It's like, okay, dude, all right, man, I know you're hurting, well, I need 10 minutes out of you, and maybe I wouldn't, you know what? With that being said, I wouldn't be opposed to him going out there. If they cleared him to play and he said he can go out there, I'll try to give you what I got. I'm good with that. That's 8 to 10 minutes that you giving relief to a Collins and a Capella. Again, it works. But I'm saying Nate got to dig deep. Dude, you can't shorten your bench right now. You need to widen it a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. We need to get away from this shorting rotation thing because I think that's what, first of all, is propelling us into this situation with just an enormous amount of injuries across the league right now. But then also, I think there are guys that definitely 100% can give you good minutes. Like you said, if it's just 5 minutes, these guys can come in and really, really help.
Yeah.
Kind of. I'm trying to find the right word. Kind of set the tide a little bit to stop them from just getting on these runs. Because, like I said, if Milwaukee gets into that groove, it's almost impossible to stop them.
And that's where this comes in. Like, yeah, you got to expand this from 9 to like 12. And you got 3 more.
You got 3 names right there, just sitting there ready to play. Like,
right. And I'm like, if you can establish and get some kind of ground on defensively, and you're at home, get that crowd going, and that puts a whole different kind of psychological level as opposed to, man, we just putting up shots. Because like, look what they did in game 1. They were up 15 points.
Mm-hmm.
And then, okay, Giannis just came down and effortlessly scored. And he just came down and he effortlessly, because there was no defense, there was no defensive presence there. And I understand, like, yeah, I don't want them to get in foul trouble. Okay, so who's after them? This reminds me of those Duke teams. These are the one and dones where it's just that starting 5, and like the bench players, like if the stars ever got in foul trouble, like, oh geez.
Yeah.
It's such a drop off in the skills. Of who's, you don't even want to go with them. So you don't, they just step aside. They don't play as hard. And now Milwaukee got all of the momentum. They see that there's no low post presence whatsoever. There's no enforcer down there. And Giannis is just walking. I mean, impressive Giannis, yes. However, in the context, not so impressive when I didn't see none of that against Brooklyn. I'm like, kind of suspect, buddy. Like, oh, big brother's away. Y'all picking on little brother right now. And it's kind of like, okay. So now you want to give it to Clint Capella because, KD and the boys was giving it to you for 7, 7 good games. Or 6, would they beat him in 6?
Maybe it was 7.
That's what I'm saying. But yeah. And that, it's just kind of like, don't get too, and not that he's doing that. His game is just kind of like arrogant right now. Like, you're just so effortlessly, you just really taking advantage of a situation. Oh, okay.
Well, and this
it is what it is.
But I think there's a bigger thing at play right now, and it speaks to the bench play. And game 3 really showed it to me because I'm really about to say this. Bobby Portis came off the bench.
Oh yeah,
60% from the field. He was 15-4. He had 1 assist and he had 2 steals.
Mm-hmm.
In I think was what? 15, 16 minutes? Like, that's Atlanta, man. You can't let Bobby Portis be doing this to you because this is not Bobby Portis.
This is the Bobby Portis that I was looking for in Chicago.
I know what you're saying.
Because I made a note of this. It's interesting you brought up. I was like, this MF for Bobby Portis. I didn't think we was ever gonna mention this man's name again.
No, I didn't think so.
Now he shows up.
I know. And I think this is where
he showed up. No.
Okay.
No. I'm gonna let you cross-examine it for a second. When I'm saying that for this game, we need some spark off the bench. It was for everything we were saying for Atlanta. This dude finally stepped up and became what they brought him over there to be. He's supposed to be actually that guy coming off the bench. He was a starter at one point.
Yeah, no, I get you.
And now I'm saying he showed up. I ain't saying he showed up and like he's arrived. There's 2 different.
Yeah, that's
things.
Okay. That's where I was gonna get to. I was like, he has not arrived.
No, I didn't say that.
Okay.
He showed up, so that's why I was like.
Thank you for making that distinction because I was about to get on you for that.
No, No, I like. When you ever see me flip flop that easily? Come on, stop. He showed up. That's why I kept referencing to the game. Like in this moment, for the moment, he
had
like,
a good game, and it really
and it
drew
mud into the eye. That I'm like, oh, now you want to show up?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I was like, alrighty, hey, Chris Middleton's already done it to me once. I don't need.
That's my point. Being is, as hard as I'm going in about Atlanta, look who showed up.
Yeah.
Out of all of that. Dude was counted out. I'm like, I'm over here all about Atlanta. Okay, we can get this dude. Man, Snell can play. Get up. You come off the bench. And,
Yeah.
You know, we going in hard. Well, I can't even say. I can't say alphabet. You know.
Oh,
I'm sorry,
Onweko Kongu.
I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah.
So you know, we talking going in real hard. And Bobby Porter's like, yeah. What about me though? Look what I just did.
Yeah.
Look what I just did to them.
Yeah. No, you're right.
You know,
and
I did it to Snell. Snell didn't even get off the bench, but I did it to him. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, man, y'all hustling backwards, man.
But in what you just said, I think kind of encapsulates what I have an issue with Nate McMillan doing. Tony Snell up against Bobby Portis. I don't think Bobby Portis is doing that.
No.
Because he's going up against Solomon Hill right now. Like
Solomon Hill's too small.
Way too small.
I'm like, Solomon Hill, is he really a forward? Like seriously, like I'm just looking at this guy like I see nothing in for. He's too short. I'm not gonna say small. I want to be very clear. It's his height. He's very tiny. I'm sorry with it.
Well, I mean, he is 6'6". I mean, he's
what
a
they
forward.
Saying, and I'm like, okay, he must be sticking 7-footers because that's how it looked when he was standing.
Well, I mean,
next to
Bobby
him.
Portis is huge. Like,
man, I'm like, I'm not seeing a 3-inch difference. I'm seeing like almost damn near a foot. That guy is tiny. I don't think he's 6'6". He looked like he's 6'2", 6'3" on a good day.
I mean, they're listing Bobby Portis at 6'10", so it's a 4-inch difference.
That looked like more than a 4-inch.
Yeah, you're right.
That's all I was getting at. I'm just on like because the same thing when I looked at him, I'm like, damn, he might be maybe even a little shorter than PJ Tucker. You know, it just and PJ Tucker is not that tall.
No, he's not big.
They can say that, oh, he's 6'8". You know, he's 6 what up, and then you 6 line. You know, no, he's not. Stop, man. You gotta call people what they are. You're like, wait, would you say 6'1", 6'2"?
And that's one of the
You know?
weird things about the NBA. I think like there's a lot of this going around where it's just like everybody gets an extra inch too. Some guys even get an extra 3 inches, and I'm like, what the? Can we just list them at what they are? Like, what is wrong with doing that? I mean, do we need to propel 7-footers being in the league?
I've done it. I had an old man moment because I said I made a mention last week that Barkley was 6'6", and like Michael Jordan got no business sticking. You know, Barkley got no business sticking like Michael Jordan. Barkley's like 6'4". You know, literally, like on a good day. So, because he was just an undersized power forward, but he actually played the power forward position.
No,
now,
you're right.
With that being said, you could stand there and look at him and like, Jordan's taller than him. And then the same thing was with Dennis Rodman. He was 6'8" at one point. Then once he leaves the Bulls, he's 6'6".
Mm-hmm.
Because he's looking Michael Jordan directly in the eye. He looked a lot taller when he was in Detroit, but he wasn't. You know, and that's just what they do. You know, he said Scotty was 6'7". I could have sworn there's some days I've seen him look at Horace Grant square in the eyes. Horace Grant is 6'10". Just saying. And then I see these other 6'7" guys who look like they 6'3" and 6'4", and I'm like, it's all been skewed. Even probably I was probably groomed wrong. So I'm probably what I'm seeing, but I know I see a difference in size. But that's neither here nor there. Where are we going with this? We're still talking about Atlanta and the Bucks.
Yeah. We were just talking about heights with
and
Bobby Portis and
Solomon Hill.
Solomon Hill, yeah. But I was saying, bringing in Tony Snell to guard Bobby Portis, because you cannot, especially if you're letting Giannis and Middleton do their thing, where they're combining for 60% from the field as starters, you can't let guys like that off the bench, like Bobby Portis, come in and also be 60% from the field. Like that's just you just can't let that happen. And I think that if you bring in and you add into the rotation Chris Dunn, by the way, Trae Young is not playing tonight. They already are in the second quarter, but Atlanta is playing some pretty good basketball right now, 33-25 in the second quarter.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a blow.
Yeah, but I think like without Trae Young, they're going to make some adjustments here, and honestly, this might be over in 5. But that's neither here nor there. What I was saying was putting Tony Snell or Cam Reddish is in the game, so putting him up against a Bobby Portis on that second unit, or Pat Connaughton, or even Thanasis for that matter, just having those guys play up against them, that'll give some reprieve, because if their second unit isn't playing up to the level of your second unit, because Gallinari coming off the bench, he's scoring, so you're getting that bench production offensively. It's just defensively, you can't allow their second unit to come out and be as effective as they have been.
Right.
So I think that's really all that I have. You got any other thoughts, any other things out of either one of these matchups in either one of these games?
Well, no, I'm just, I'm a little bummed now that I heard that Trae's not playing tonight. But silver lining, it's gonna give me an opportunity to look at these other guys now, because now we're gonna remove
the guy,
i.e. the issue for the 11.
Yeah,
the issue here.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna remove him now. Let's see what y'all do.
Yeah.
So, and I'm gonna look at it from that standpoint, because I still got Atlanta in 7, and this, I was gonna say in some quasi kind of form, man, this is gonna be like their game 5 right here. Like, this is the pivotal game.
This is it. I feel like whoever wins this game, not that they control anything, but it really will. It's either gonna buy enough time for Atlanta to just wait until Trae Young is healthy, or Milwaukee it's literally, the pressure is on now.
I think a 3-1 lead is just too much for them. That's asking too much.
I think if they go up 3-1 tonight, it ends on Thursday.
Could. However, these leagues, I could still see them. They could potentially
push it
6.
to 7. I get what you're saying.
No, they're just losing 6. It'd be the weirdest thing.
I get what you're saying.
It's again home court.
But to me, I do think Milwaukee is a little bit different in that way. If they go up 3-1, as opposed to what Phoenix has done, I don't think Giannis is going to let them take that backseat. Because Giannis, even though he is he's not quote unquote a vocal leader, he will go to those guys. I mean, you saw it in the Brooklyn series where I thought he was grabbing the clipboard to tell him that he was taking on KD. He was still telling his guys, this is what you need to do in this situation.
Right.
Whatever it was, he still did take command. He is still being that floor general as the talent and the leader. But I mean, if he's not able to do it now with Trae Young off the floor, I don't think he's ever going to be able to do it. So it's put up or shut up time for Milwaukee. And I actually would be disappointed if Milwaukee does not close this out in 5 with Trae Young off the floor.
I can't really dispute that too much, because, like I said, this really is game 5. So I'm almost saying whoever wins this game wins the series. Well, Atlanta is definitely, because if Atlanta loses, you definitely not winning the series.
You're done.
People are like, well, they could lose in that. That remains to be seen, because I already said Atlanta in 7. So whoever wins this game, I'm saying, I'm not even making a profound statement. It's where it's at.
This is where we're
not
sitting
coming
at.
back from 3-1. And so you're down. You tied us up 2-2. It's best 2 out of 3. Trae's back. We're back to, you need to steal a one, which y'all perfectly can do. You need to just take care of home court and tie this thing back up to even the series back out, and we can go from there. So it's a clean slate. It's a whole new series. The best 2 out of 3 next, but you got to win tonight. 3-1, man, miss me. It just,
you're right.
No heroic. Y'all don't have enough it's just not enough in the tank for after that. That's all I have. In regards to those series, I mean, I have my question of the day and I got my award, but
let's go get into that.
For that got that dog award. I was almost gonna quasi give it, man, just on a just an honorable mention, Bobby Portis. Come on. You gotta give it up to
Hey,
just the man balled out.
he had a game. He had a game.
I mean, 15 points, 4 rebounds, 2 steals, an assist. I mean, man shot, like you said, 58% from the field.
Yeah,
And he did it in 16 and a half minutes. Come on. Yeah. He showed up.
he had a game.
He showed the Bobby Portis I showed up award. But no, in all seriousness, that got that dog award this week. I got it. I don't like that this person got it, but for various reasons I'll get into it in a second. But Giannis,
No, please do tell.
just his numbers. Just
Okay.
for the series. I mean, he just big bro picking on little bro right now.
I got you.
He
No,
just
that-
brooding through it. I mean, game 1, 33-11. Game 2, he 34-12. Game 3. I'm just doing 2 stat lines. Then he comes back and man, he's 33-11 again. I mean, he just he beasting down there, man. And I mean, he's making the Atlanta bigs look small. There's no presence down there.
I mean, his stats for the series right now through 3 games, he's 30, 10, 6, and 2. So, I mean, you're right. I mean,
I'm saying from the numbers, and his attitude ain't there. It's just effortless, But
Yeah.
I mean, just putting in that work.
Yeah.
Got that dog. Yeah, I know. Sometimes I do want to put that, that swag and that, that's kind of why I did an honorable mention to Bobby Portis because he was just a poor version of that.
True.
But his attitude was a lot intense.
I mean, honestly, and this is gonna be kind of me talking out of the side of my mouth from what I've been saying recently, but I feel like I would have given it to Chris Middleton if I was giving it to anybody on Milwaukee right now. I know, because
wow, I was about to let that pass, but go ahead.
Just saying, yes, Giannis is doing it in a overall for this series, but Chris Middleton has shown up in spots in the last 3 games where it's just like, well, specifically games 2 and 3, where it's just like, God, come on, Atlanta, like you're just gonna let it, like it just feels like they're just letting Chris Middleton do it. Whereas when I'm watching it, I know Chris Middleton he's actually just going to work right now, but it's just one of these things where I'm just like throwing up my hands, like Atlanta, come on, you have to be able to put somebody on him because it's not. There's Chris Middleton at some points and specifically in the second half, whether it's late in the third or early in the fourth, where they have to get that run to see, okay, this is what the momentum is going to be shifting to.
He's too streaky for me. I'm sorry.
And I guess that's fair.
At best, he's a 3.
Yeah.
And I'm like, with potential,
Yeah.
he's to show himself as a 2. Giannis is that constant because as you said, I'm gonna use your words. I'm gonna do the ESPN thing. I'm gonna use exactly what you said. He's good in spots.
Yeah, you're right.
Giannis, the whole thing is a spot. Like it's just continuous with his numbers. And I understand he's the base. He's the foundation. Middleton has to play off him. And Middleton has came in, but the point is we just don't know when it's going to happen. We're waiting on it in some cases.
In the words of Chris Rock, then, I will say, you want to give him flowers, some shit he's supposed to do.
Exactly. And this is why he is what he is, and so I'm a more annoyed.
Whatever, Giannis. You just want a cookie for your junior. No, I'm kidding.
I guess
I
I'm
agree
saying
with you.
I'm
You're
more
right.
annoyed with Chris Middleton right now because it's like you just like Giannis. At least Giannis is kind of humble about it. Like his game just speaks like, man, I'm just gonna go out shoot. I'm just the better guy on the court tonight. Just I'm that guy tonight. It's my night. And I don't know what y'all trying to bring over here, but this is my gym. Kind of thing. It has a swag like that. Like, dude, who are you, man?
Yeah,
like,
no, you're right.
Man, it just don't rolled up and just took over, and it's not. I'm annoyed with him right now, like, dude.
I get you.
Because like if I needed that, and I'm like, okay, man, we in this moment, and I look at you, that dude won't show up necessarily.
Yeah, you're right.
It's a very good chance, yeah, and that's my problem. But with that being said, man, Giannis, I can't say his last name.
Antetokounmpo.
Giannis, he gets it. I mean, his numbers have just been solid in the series. They don't have an answer for this guy, or Nate McMillan hasn't figured it out just yet. I hope after these 3 games, that was a good enough sample size to show everything you've done has not worked.
And in the grand scheme of things, if I'm really being honest about what I want to see, because
I don't have a problem if this dude scored like he's averaging 30 and 10. My issue is when I start seeing the way he was getting a lot of those baskets when y'all up 15, but at the half you're tied. I got a problem with that because this dude just skipped through there 5 or 6 times uncontested anyways. Like you just gave up 12 good easy uncontested points. There you go.
I get 100% what you're saying, but to me, if I'm being honest about what I want to see, and honestly, what I want to see is Trae Young in the finals. That's what I want to see. But in all honesty, the way that he gets there and the way that we get to see the most out of Trae Young is unfortunately they lose this year. In this offseason, whatever we see, whatever comes out of this Eastern Conference run, this Eastern Conference Finals run, I need the Atlanta organization to realize, hey, like we've got the dude, we need to build around him fully. Like we can't half-ass and we went to go get this dude. He's kind of what you need, but. We don't need more Kevin Huerters on this team.
I want to put a suggestion in, a veteran suggestion.
What's that?
Dwight Howard. He comes back to Atlanta, but now he comes back as really a general and a leader.
Fair. I don't know if he burned bridges on his way out. So
I'm not
I don't
sure
know
either, but his stint here, he was doing that weird point.
It was weird.
Like it was almost like the Rondo signing. Like when you knew.
Yeah,
as when you hear about, I'm gonna sign with Atlanta. What's up with that?
Well, I knew what Rondo was doing when he signed with Atlanta. I knew exactly what was happening. But
it's one of those when you're looking at it like, I don't know if that's gonna fit. That don't even sound like that's not a move you make. You know, I'm from Atlanta area. I get that, but
well, no, because I know what Rondo was trying to get that bag. That's literally all
I understand. I understand. I get that. I was just saying in both cases, I had the same conclusion. Yeah. But anyway, Giannis. Got that dog. I know we already talking about Dwight Howard, but in Atlanta Hawks. My question of the day.
Conversation it's fine.
We can always bring it up in another.
Yeah,
because I can read the speculatory stuff. Because I've been looking at some things. But my question of the day. And this had a lot to do, especially when we're looking at this Clippers series, and just Clippers in general, and this whole Kawhi fiasco or whatever the hell is or is not going and is happening right now. But is load management a necessary process in the NBA anymore? Why or why not?
And with that, there's a quasi second question of the day.
Go ahead.
Just based off of what we talked about earlier, what are just your guys' thoughts on the Kawhi frustration with the medical staff situation? Does this feel like it's a quote unquote second run with the San Antonio Spurs, or do you think this is something completely different? Is this a non-starter, or is this actually the beginnings of something happening in LA right now? So that's my question.
Well, we will have those both posted up. Gotta let me know when you're going off though.
I'll text you as soon as it goes up. Yeah, well, that I think is going to do it for today's episode. Again, guys, like, rate, subscribe, leave a comment down below, answer the questions, and let's have a conversation about it in the comment section down below. On top of that, go follow us on Twitter at @_square_pod. A lot of great content going out on there, just kind of staying engaged with the community, just staying up to date on sports news, and really just also another platform to have conversations directly with us, the cast of the show, if you will. But with that, thank you guys for listening, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Have a good night.